JJ Reddick is teaming up with LeBron James to become the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. The duo began their basketball love affair on their podcast called Mind the Game, where they would sit down and sip wine to discuss the state of the game, dissect X's and O's, and wax poetic about the game they love. How sweet is that? Their silly little podcast actually turned into a multi-million-dollar head coaching job offer from one of the biggest names in the entire world of sports. Oh, and by the way, JJ Reddick has absolutely zero coaching experience. But the trend to hire young is becoming a popular one around the league, and JJ is walking into arguably the toughest job in the NBA. The Lakers, their fans, and LeBron all have an expectation to win. But everyone knows that the Lakers roster is dramatically under-talented. Take a look at the construction of teams like Minnesota, Dallas, and OKC. They all have much bigger, much more talented rotational pieces than the Lakers. And there are other intriguing teams out west as well. Houston and San Antonio are growing stronger. Memphis should return to form this year. So the question is, will the former Duke legend and media darling be able to cook up enough Dan Hurley-esque offensive schemes and help the Lakers make a run through the West next year? Let's start with the offense. And one thing I'm really going to be looking for from the Lakers is how often they go to this 4-out 1-in look to optimize their spacing and personnel. When the court is balanced this way, with 4 guys on the perimeter and 1 man inside, it really opens up opportunities to attack driving lanes both from the top and the wing spots. This style of offense is simply built for dribbling into gaps and creating advantages off the ball, which is exactly how LeBron James has dominated the league for over 20 years. Here you'll see that Keon Ellis is going to leave the man he's guarding to shade LeBron's drive, but LeBron is able to swing it right over his head to Roy Hachimura in the corner, who attacks a long closeout from Sabonis and gets himself an easy look right at the rim. What's really important about the 4-out 1-in look is that Anthony Davis is versatile enough to play up at the top on the wing like he is here and be that secondary driver / spot-up threat if his man leaves to stop the drive, or he can play inside like we'll see in the next clip and get an easy dump-off look when his defender steps up to stop the ball and the defense is too slow to rotate onto him. Importantly, another wrinkle that the right timing and spacing will lend itself quite nicely to is a very effective and consistent James and Davis 2-man game in the middle of the floor. In this next clip versus the Timberwolves, notice how Mike Conley begins to walk away from his guy in the corner because he knows that if LeBron gets past Anthony Edwards, then Cat is going to have to step up, and then Conley's going to have to drop to the basket to protect the rim. But LeBron knows that too, so as soon as he sees Conley get too far from Reddish, he picks up his dribble, and he's going to zip it right through the defense. One more pass to AD, and he gets a good mid-range look as the shot clock expires, all because we had decent spacing with about 7 or 8 seconds to go and made the right read after the initial drive was cut off by Anthony Edwards. As soon as LeBron or D'Lo or Roy can get past their primary defender and penetrate the defense, this 4-out 1-in look forces long closeouts, makes the defense have to rotate over from the backside to stop the drive, and you begin to create a sort of cascading effect where the defense always seems to be one step behind the ball.
Graham for 3. Single-handedly keeping Texas Tech in this game in the early go. Good ball movement for one more. Jackson.
So I want to cover Austin Reaves' involvement in the Lakers offense this year because I honestly expected more out of him last year. Coming off a Western Conference Finals run where he looked really good in the 2023 playoffs, he averaged 17, 4, and 4 on 44% from three-point range. And I thought last year he really solidified himself as that third option for the Lakers. But I don't think Darvin Ham fully extracted all he could out of Austin Reaves last year. Coming off that playoff run, Reaves was a much better playmaker, but his shooting efficiency slightly dipped, and he only averaged 15 points a night on 32 minutes a game. Also, he was only shooting 5 threes a night, and I think JJ Reddick is going to ask him to shoot even more threes this season. I can see JJ Reddick turning Austin Reaves into a 20-point-per-game scorer this year. The 4-out 1-in stuff will certainly help with that, as Reaves will be one of the main beneficiaries of optimizing LeBron and AD's usage. But I also think that JJ should experiment with getting more open looks for Austin and specific actions that will generate looks specifically for him. I really think Austin is great operating from the top of the key because he's a good downhill driver and he can go both directions. And he also finishes off with 2 feet most of the time anyways. But I think one stipulation that JJ has to get through to Austin is that he is a scorer first. When the Lakers are setting him up with pin downs, DHOs, and high ball screens, it should be for Austin to get a bucket. Last year, as Austin became a more integral part of that Laker offense, I think he got passive. D'Lo got really hot from three during the second half of the year, and I think he was looking to pass a bit too much. And I think that affected his shooting numbers as well. This year, JJ is going to feature Austin as a far more aggressive scorer than we saw under Darvin Ham last year. And truthfully, the Lakers need to be much more aggressive in general, especially from 3 point range. They have good shooters throughout their roster, but for whatever reason, they ranked dead last in 3 point attempts per game last year. If nothing else, JJ Reddick is going to come in and provide a thought out and strategized offensive game plan and the ability to audible in the huddle, which I would imagine to lead to more shots from deep this year. Okay, so let's talk defense. And unfortunately, I think the Lakers are really going to struggle on this end. And it just comes down to personnel. Yes, LeBron and AD won the title in the bubble during COVID, but that roster also had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee on it. If the Lakers want to be a good defensive team, they gotta pair AD with another big man to play next to. Last year they went 1-3 against Minnesota, their only win coming on March 10th in a game where Towns and Gobert were both sidelined with injuries. And we've all seen AD try to contain Jokic for a few years now, and well, it just hasn't really gone great. The only other quote unquote big man the Lakers have on their roster right now is Jackson Hayes. And in the limited number of minutes that Darvin Ham actually played those two together last year, which is a total of 89 minutes over the course of 19 different regular season games, the Lakers' defensive rating was just 103.5, which is miles off where they finished the year as a team last year at 116.2. One thing is for sure, JJ Reddick is going to bring organization, structure, and most importantly, a passion for the game and the conviction necessary to continue to move forward even in the face of adversity. With that being said, JJ will also struggle with leadership and commitment. If he does not have success early, it will be a struggle to get the entire organization and a ludicrous fan base to buy in and believe in him.